Hi, in this video, I'm going to show you how to use Webmin Virtualmin to set up a website. Now, Webmin Virtualmin is a control panel, much like cPanel, but I like it a lot better. And when you watch this video, you might like it a lot better as well, because Virtualmin makes it a lot easier to set up a website than cPanel does. I don't know why. cPanel is supposed to be very user-friendly, and it is for the most part. But really, what it is, and I don't mean to bash them, but they've kind of made their control panel more idiot proof, so it has a lot of restrictions in it that try to prevent people from doing the wrong thing. This does too, but not so much. This allows you a little bit more freedom and allows you to do a lot more things. Now, if this looks slightly different than the way yours might look, that's because I'm using the authentic theme, and I also have chosen to have particular colors. So in each one of my servers, I have a different color, so when I go to a different server, I know which server I'm on based on the color of it. Anyway, so just a little trick that I do. Now, first thing you need to understand is that Virtualmin calls websites virtual servers because it's actually a little chunk of the server that's a virtual server. So once you understand that, that'll make it a little bit easier. So the first thing you want to do is you want to make sure you're on the Virtualmin tab, and then you'll want to just click on Create Virtual Server. So all we do here is we just enter in the domain name. Let's just go test.com. You can enter a description if you want. You can say this is John's website. So if you have a friend or something, you of course are going to put a password in. And here's where you can set up different templates. This gets a little bit more complicated. I'm not going to show you how to do this in this video, but you can set up a template and have it actually. Sorry, my email just went off, so if you had a big notification sound, that's what it was. But basically, you can set up a template so that it can install certain things. Like I have this one, it'll set up a template, and when I click on WordPress install, it would install a WordPress website for me. So that's kind of cool. You can also set up default plans if you want to have a client plan or whatever. You can set all that up. It does make it a little bit more difficult to set up individual clients, but not really. Virtualmin Webmin is an open source software, but they do have a pro version. The pro version does make it easier to set up clients, but it's really, I don't really have much problems with that. Anyway, so don't need to get into that in this video. Advanced options, you can just kind of go through. Really, all I've set up here is this, and this, and you can choose the template that you want. IP address stuff you can mess with, and enable features, you can mess with these. If you're going to have an SSL on the site, go ahead and choose that now. You can always choose it later. The one things that I like to turn off, and you can actually set this in some of the other settings, is you can make it so that these aren't even an option. You can disable Webalizer, and you can disable AW stats. On this particular server, I don't have those disabled, but it's pretty easy to set those up using some of the settings over here, so that next time I come here, it wouldn't even show me those. Then all you do is you click Create Server, and boom, it is creating it right now. Now, one of the cool things that I told you you're going to like better than cPanel is right now it is creating not just the virtual server, the website, but it's also setting up a username for me for FTP and for the database. So it's doing that all right now. It's setting up a database for me, and it's setting up the user and password and all that. Now, the password it's using is the one that I just gave it, which I just, since we're just doing a test one, I just typed on the keyboard, whatever I wanted to. But, so you'd want to make sure you remember what that password is, because that's going to be your FTP password, and it's also going to be your database password as well. Now, if you did set it up to do a template, here's a cool thing. If I had a WordPress template, I can actually go in and I can put in, you can go into the config file for WordPress, and you can say, here is where I want my username put in, and here, well, you'd actually say, here's where I want my database username put in, and here's where I want my password put in. And it will go in and it'll find those files and it'll put them in for you. So you don't have to even configure WordPress. It'll just do it for you. So it's really cool how it does things like that automatically. So in cPanel, what I would do is I would set up the website, then I would go in and I'd say, okay, let's create an FTP account. Okay, now that I've done that, let's go in and create the database and the database users, and let's add the database user to the database. That's all been done for us all just right now. So one thing, let me add this on really quick here, is that To add additional users like FTP accounts, email accounts, or database users, you would add edit users here. Now, even though you do see it says edit mail aliases, that is not adding an email address. That's adding an email alias. It's a different thing. We'll get into that in a different video. But now that we've created this, here it is, test.com. You can see it's in the drop down here with all my other ones. And now let's go ahead and delete it, or we can disable it as well. So all we need to do is just go down to here and we click delete virtual server, or we can disable it, or we can disassociate features from it. But let's go ahead and just delete it since it's just a test one anyway. So we can click on delete. Don't worry, it is going to ask us if we're sure we want to delete it. Now, another cool thing about the templates, if you get those set up, and like I said, I'll create another video with that, is if you set up the template, it can actually even set up a temporary, it can set up a temporary URL for you that you can use. So if I wanted to set up my test.com website, but I didn't want to switch it over just yet, I can set up a temporary one, and I can use this one instead of my permanent one. And that way I can go through and can test it, and then when I'm ready, then I just switch it over, and boom, it's done. So that's another cool thing about the template feature. So I'm just going to go ahead, and it's just telling me, hey, all these things are going to be deleted, and they're deleted permanently. It's also going to delete this temporary domain name permanently. Is that okay? I'm just going to click yes, that's okay. And boom, it goes through and deletes it, and there's no sign of it now. So that is how you install a website or a virtual server, and that's also how you delete one.